going to head to our game of the day, a little NFL TNF action. All of these lines are according to FanDuel Sportsbook. We've got the Steelers, who are 6-5-1, 2-3 on the road, at the Vikings, who are 5-7, 3-2 at home. Minnesota right now is the 3-point favorite with a total at 43.5. Arky, these two teams have something in common. Can you tell me what it is?
They're both going to be difficult watches?
Close. Neither team has beat the Lions this season. As we know, the Vikings are coming off a loss to said Lions and also took an L to the 49ers the week before that, dropping 3 of their last 5. The Steelers are coming off a win over the Ravens and have gone 2-1 in their last 5, of course, tying with Detroit. I'm so glad I'm not a fan of either of these teams because they can both be incredibly stressful to watch and have been playing games extremely close. So, Arky, how will you be playing this game tonight?
I tell you, I look at the -3 and the spread just in general. I can't get behind it at all. Like I feel like I like the Vikings to be able to win this game. It's their first home game in 18 days. That's going to be good for them. Won't have to worry about the elements. Of course, the game's going to be inside,
right?
And you got a very offensive team in Minnesota. But what I can't get behind is a team like Minnesota who has 7 losses this season. All 7 have been by 1 possession.
Yep.
They've had 5 wins on the season. 4 of the 5 have been within 1 possession. So it's just, to me, it's too tight. And what I tell you all the time about Kirk Cousins is that his entire career, he's about a 500 against the spread quarterback. So yes, 1 week, no 1 week, yes, no. And it's not necessarily just in that order. It's tough for me to get behind the spread there. But what I can get behind is the total. The total, if I'm going to buy this down to 43 from 43.5, I like the over in it. Because if you look at what these two offenses have coming into it, yeah, sure, Pittsburgh doesn't look pretty, right? But you know who's also not pretty on defense? It's Minnesota. They're awful. They're 30th in the league when it comes to yards allowed per game. They're 25th in points allowed per game. And I'll be straight up honest with you, like, they suck. They just are terrible in every aspect of the game.
Be honest with us.
So Pittsburgh's going to be able to do a little something. Najee Harris and company. Ben Roethlisberger, let me tell you, he's got a touchdown in 7 straight games. He threw a couple touchdowns to Deontay Thompson last week in that big win over the Baltimore Ravens. So it's good for them. And Kirk Cousins, he's got 5 straight games where he's thrown for 2 touchdowns or more. He's also thrown for 300 yards 5 times this season, which is pretty darn good. He's a great stat quarterback. And the total of 43 has gone over for 5 straight games for the Minnesota Vikings and 2 of the last 3 for Pittsburgh. So the thing I only trust at this point in this game right now is the total and the over. But Kayla, you know these primetime games that we talk about. You know I love to place a little bit of a prop bet, right?
Yep. Love a good prop.
Tonight's no exception. So, tonight, the first quarter was a weird total for me to sort of play with. Kirk Cousins doesn't throw a lot of interceptions. Ben Roethlisberger doesn't throw a ton of them right now either. So what I ended up liking in this prop bet was the first half total. It's at 22.5 right now on FanDuel. That's at plus 105 money. So you can get plus money to go over 22.5 this season. And if you pay attention to what these two teams have done, it's been money. 2 out of the last 3 for Pittsburgh and 5 straight also over the 22.5 in the first half for the Minnesota Vikings. So not only do I take the over 43 in the game for the Minnesota Vikings, I will also take the first half over 22.5 for a little plus money action for tonight.
Best of luck to you, pal.
Thanks.
All right, I am going to just kind of reiterate a few things you said because I think they're important. 7 losses for the Vikings have been the difference of 1 score, so they could easily have a winning record, Arky. The Steelers aren't too far behind them. What is on the line here? Well, the Vikings, it's about getting their dignity back. They will be playing with vengeance. As far as the playoff picture goes, they are behind the Packers in the NFC North and currently sit in 9th in the NFC, but only 1 game behind Washington and the 49ers. The Steelers, while in 3rd in the AFC North, are 8th in the AFC overall, and just the Bengals, Bills, and Chargers are all currently in the wild card spot and just 1 game ahead of them. So it's not totally out of reach for Pittsburgh just yet. Sure, the Vikings are 1-9 against the spread in their last 10 games, but here is why I'm taking them at -3. You heard me right. We've talked about the young quarterbacks showing out this season, but the spotlight will be on the vets in this one tonight. As you said, Kirk Cousins' record doesn't reflect their games have been. He's pretty decent, had a pretty decent season, sitting in the top 10 in the NFL in passing and touchdowns, and has only had 3 interceptions all season, the fewest by any quarterback. So let's put respect on that name. Thank you. Not only that, but he's had 5 games with over 300 passing yards, as you mentioned. Big Ben also does not want you to count him out just quite yet. While he may not have the numbers that Cousins does, he's only thrown 1 interception in their last 7 games and has had at least 1 TD pass in 11 of their games, also as you mentioned. Same page with you there. Obviously, Justin Jefferson is a force for Minnesota, sitting in 2nd in receiving yards, while TJ Watt has been bringing it on defense all year for the Steelers with 16 sacks on the season, which could very well earn him Defensive Player of the Year. I feel like this is the most toss-up game in the history of toss-ups, to be honest, but I'm going to take the Vikings, who are 6-6 against the spread and have not covered this season in three times they were favored by 3 or more. Sorry, they have covered in those games that they were favored by 3 or more. The Vikings have, however, gone over this total of 43.5 in 9 of 12 games. Pittsburgh is also 6-6 against the spread. They are 5-2 against the spread when 3 or more point underdogs. So I'm going to go with the home team, the more solid quarterback, I feel, and hope that Minnesota plays peeved coming into their game from last week. I also kind of like the over in this one. So give me the over of 43.5. As you said, weather's not going to be a factor. Let those balls fly, fellas. I can also see this going the complete opposite direction of everything I just said, but skull nonetheless, whatever that means.
Oh, let the balls fly, fellas.
What does that mean, by the way? Do you know?
Let the balls fly?
No, skull.
It's one of the rally chants. I'm not quite sure. I think it stands for something, like it's an acronym for something. I'm not quite sure.
Okay, my Minnesota friends explained it to me once upon a time, but I have since forgotten.